Part 1.
Hello, I'm Claire. And your name is?
Wayne,
Okay, fine. And you're from?
Taiwan.
Is that your identification?
Yes, please.
Thank you. Okay. First then, a few questions about you and your life.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your family. Do you come from a large or a small family?
Well, it's not a large or it's not a small, but just a medium one. We got 6 members in my family.
Okay. And do all your family live in the same town or city?
No, they separate.
Right. How often do you see your brothers and sisters?
Well, usually I meet my brother 3 times a year, and I meet my sister once a year because one of my sisters now is living in Canada.
Ah, I see. Do you have a lot in common with them?
Oh no, I don't think so. Especially in personality, we are quite different. Because one of my brothers is a businessman.
Right. Is it okay to talk about your weekends?
Okay.
Are your weekends generally busy or relaxed?
Oh, relax. Sometimes busy for my paper submission.
What kind of things do you usually do at the weekend?
Well, watching TV, because that will help me to improve my English. And I play golf and jogging.
What would you like to do in your time off if you could choose?
I would like to play golf because here it's quite cheaper to play golf.
Do you ever go away on your days off?
Sometimes, but most of the time I just go to city center or I just go to the beach.
Right. Let's continue by talking about exercise and fitness.
Okay.
What kind of outdoor activities or exercise do you like?
Oh, I like tennis, I like play golf, and jogging.
Are there any sports you don't like?
No, I appreciate all kind of sports. For example, cricket. For example, soccer.
And do you think it's important to keep fit?
Yes, of course, it's very important to give me energy and to make me health.
What are the best ways to keep fit?
Well, I think the best way is to make a specific time every day. For example, in 6 p.m., you have to go jogging, and as a long time, that will become a habit.
Part 2.
Now I'm going to give you a piece of paper with a topic on it.
Yeah.
Please talk about the topic for 1 to 2 minutes. But before you talk, you can have 1 minute to plan. You can write notes if you want to. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Here's some paper for your notes, and this is the topic. Please describe an important year in your life. Okay. Don't forget, you only have 1 to 2 minutes for your talk, so I might stop you when the time is up. Ready to start?
Yeah. Well, I think the most important year in my life is when I studied MBA degree in the University of Hull in UK. That experience gave me culture shock, a real culture shock. I noticed that Mexican people speak Spanish, and I remember one of my Spanish classmates, she can't differentiate Thailand and Taiwan. And another experience is when I went to a British family in the Christmas holiday, and that family didn't know where the location of Taiwan is, and the family, they didn't have idea about Taiwan. That gave me a real cultural shock, because from the American point of view, most of the American or Canadian people, they know the Taiwan situation, but from the Western, from the European, from the British point of view, they are not have the same idea. That really gave me a cultural shock. So I noticed that if we evaluate different issues, we have to judge from the international point of view. That's very important for me right now.
Thank you. Did you keep a diary or something in writing to remember that year?
Oh, I didn't. Well, that was very pity.
Part 3.
Okay. You talked about things you remember from an important year in your life. Now, I'd like to talk about some general questions connected to memory and the past. How important do you think it is to know your family history?
Well, I don't think it's very important. Well, this probably because my experience. If one family, their history is doing business, that would be important for all the family, all the members of the family to learn how to do business. But for me, this is as a study in the academic field, it's just work by myself. So I don't think the family history will be very important for me.
Mm-hmm. What are the best ways to keep a family history alive for people, for future members of your family, do you think?
Well, you say the best way. Oh, well, if this family has a glory history, of course it should be learned. But I have two academic vocabulary I have to mention here. One is learn, the other one is unlearn, which means to learn new things and unlearn the past success. Because the family history, it's a kind of past tense. So people should learn new things and unlearn the past success. That would be better.
And are you not curious about your history?
No, I don't think so. Because my family came from China, but most of my families haven't gone to China. So it's not a big image for me to learn and or to learn something from that history.
Uh-huh. Do you think it's important to study and understand the history of one's country?
Yes, of course, because history gives us a lesson. that make us the same situation won't happen again.
Yeah. What for example?
Well, for example, now there's a conflict, between Taiwan and China. The separation is just only 14 years, but from a long-term view, there are two very long period of separation in China. Each has a 400 years separation, but finally the dynasty of China has been united.
And why do you think studying history has become less popular these days?
Well, I think this is probably because of the educational system, because most of the teachers, they just cram knowledge into the brain of the students. So the students don't like history. It's because it's very boring.
How do you think we could encourage young people to become interested in history?
I think the teachers should teach students from a longitudinal perspective to compare with different dynasties, to compare with different countries. That would be more interesting.
And should they only learn about Chinese history?
No, of course not. They should learn all the history in the world. For example, the recent United States against Afghanistan, most of people don't realize the history of the Afghanistan.
Well, that sounds very interesting. But the interview has ended now, so thank you very much for talking to me.
You're welcome.